the people of America, North America. That way. Okay, live stream starting soon. Should be up so we can pause that so there's no extra weird volume coming through. Okay. All right, there we go. You know what we're going to do with this? We're going to make that full screen. We're going to bring this one over here. This is how this works. And boom, we have full access.
Ooh.
Ooh, oh my gosh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I'm going to have a carrot.
Cool.
It is cool. It's very cool.
Yep. I'm going to have 2.
Simultaneous?
Uh,
That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Okay. We have 5 people. I can't believe you. What's up, Doc? That's right.
Bugs.
Topical humor.
You be Bugs and I'll be Babs.
Like from Tiny Toons?
Mm-hmm. No, you'd be Buster.
I'd be Buster. I was going to say. They just have normal dialogues. I mean, as far as cartoon characters go.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's what we're doing. I'm Buster, you're Babs.
Mm-hmm.
Babs Caltrain.
This is us in a cartoon.
You kind of look like a cartoon character.
You do.
Unrealistic.
You look like bullshit.
I do. That's true. This week has been insane. We bought a huge collection from this. There's actually a gentleman who passed away, and passed away about a year ago, and his wife sold us his collection, and it's literally like 2,000 games and about like 80 to 90, maybe 100 systems. So I've been going through the entire store,
wow,
like crazy, to like get everything all put together and tested and, you know, ready for, you know, what works, what doesn't. And it's just been, I've been at the store every single day this week, just swamped. It's been great, but it's like, it's killed my social life this entire week. So yeah, that's what happens.
You don't have one for social life.
Not right now. No, not at all. What about you?
I don't have a social life.
That's true. You don't. V Pirate, I am here. Your prayers have been answered. What up? What up? I'm glad you're here. I'm glad people are here. I'm glad people tune into this. It makes me happy that we have people that come in and they talk and we chat. And for people who don't know, welcome to the podcast. This is the Blue Lady Podcast. We discuss a variety of different things. We'll discuss life issues. We'll discuss cartoon characters, things that we're eating. If you have questions, if you just want a dialogue, anything you guys want to do, we'll talk about whatever, you know. I actually had a friend that I wanted to discuss some of her stuff tonight. She was feeling really just feeling down. People do, you know, life's ups and downs. No matter how good things are, there's still, it's a constant flux, you know. And the other day she was having a really hard time feeling wanted by people. You know, I attract guys who don't want me. I attract people who don't. And I've actually been in that same boat. I felt like I've attracted people who are unavailable or poor communication, you know. I felt like I've had like a tendency to do that kind of thing. And let's see, we did switch spots this time. I'm over here.
Well, when I got here, John was sitting in my spot.
I was like, you snooze, so you lost, as the saying goes.
Yeah, that's it. Rhymes.
Yeah, you went to bed, and so you did not finish.
And it lost.
Yeah. So, propel yourself to the future. I actually have more of these in the fridge if you decide you're thirstier than you are now. If your thirst increases.
Okay.
Does that sound good? But like, I'll get into it anonymously, and I think it's going to just be a fun one to talk about. Okay.
And I also let you know about the kid that asked me.
Yes.
For you to talk about something.
Yeah, Mario's secrets and tricks. Correct. It's good.
Yeah, one of the kids at the middle school that I work at asked if John could address something about a video game, something. Yeah.
Yes, and it was about secrets from the first Super Mario Brothers.
So.
Or do you want to do that tonight, or do you want to do that? I mean, because last night I was doing an online race where I was playing Super Mario World against Michael Radon.
We can do it another time.
We can do it right now.
We could do that too.
I mean, if you came to this podcast to learn about yourself and like your spirit and tricks for Super Mario Brothers 1, I've got you covered.
Go for it.
Super
Mario Brothers 1.
Okay. One. Very first one. Mm-hmm. There's a trick where I'm actually going to do this. There's a trick where when you fall onto an item, such as a mushroom that alters your state. So you start off as a little tiny Mario, right? That's just known as regular Mario. When you get the big mushroom, it turns you into what's called Super Mario. Mm-hmm. So by default, you are not Super Mario. And if you fall onto one of these items without jumping, the game thinks that you still haven't jumped. So you can actually fall into one of these things while it's falling into like a pit or off of a cliff and regain your jump and jump out of a pit to safety if you play the game's mechanics correctly. It's kind of a neat little weird just programming oversight.
Cool.
There you go. That's a trick.
Are there any other ones?
Why you no play Cat Mario? That's the only trick in the whole game. Yeah.
That's the only trick in the game?
The only one. I know. This one looks like a finger. It looks like there's like a missing fingernail right there. Like somebody's pinky. The fingernail's gone. See it? Do you want it?
No.
Okay.
You can have it.
I don't want it either. I'll eat it. I'll eat it in a bit. Not Cheetos. I don't eat Cheetos. I wish I ate Cheetos. Sometimes I eat Cheetos.
Why are you talking about Cheetos? Oh.
It might be. It seems like carrots to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's carrots. I brought Cheetos.
Did you really?
Yeah, you want to see?
I do want to see. I don't believe you.
You don't believe me?
No, I was proven wrong.
I brought Cheetos. A lot of orange food.
Are you going through an orange phase right now?
No, they're just two of my favorite foods, Cheetos and carrots.
It makes sense. They're both delicious.
Mm-hmm. They're both fantastic. Okay,
so I would like to bring up what my friend said. Welcome to the Blue Lady Podcast. I'm John.
I'm Michelle.
And together we are the Blue Lady, which is Mewtwo. Okay. She's eating Cheetos too. Haley's eating Cheetos.
Hey now.
Okay. So she was going through just, I mean, and I've felt like this many times before. Many times in life is just feeling like not worth it to somebody else. Like somebody, you go through phases where you want validation.
Yeah.
Everybody has done that. And she says, I don't like solitude. I'm a people person. Because I like solitude in conjunction with, the balance of it. I like to be alone, but I like to share my energy with people. So I want to know what it feels like to be important. That's how she started it. Like if we stopped talking tomorrow, would you actually care? 5 to 10 years from now, would you even remember me? I feel like I'm kind of floating through life, not really making any kind of impact on anyone. And I hate that feeling. I want to make an impact. I want to know that I made someone else's life better. Because I mean, what else are we here for if not each other? Followed up with, I feel like I could die tomorrow and not a single person would be like, wow, she was so amazing. She brought so much into my life. She was so beautiful. Everybody sees just my neuroticism, my clinginess, my insecurity. Nobody wants to know me, to know what makes me tick. I feel like I have so much to give, but no one wants it. I have no outlet and it builds up inside me so much that it physically hurts. I'm so tired of being discarded that people can just walk away and not feel anything, not miss me, not wonder how I'm doing, nothing. Like my existence means nothing to anyone but me because I don't fit into the box they try to put me in. It hurts so bad, not just out of insecurity, but out of fear. What is happening to us that people like me just go by the wayside, unnoticed, uncared for? A lot of guys have mistaken my clinginess for wanting all of their attention, but it's not. I want to give them mine. Don't they know what they're missing? And it's especially hard because there are such strict standards on women. Like I said, long hair, tan, clear skin, round butts, perky boobs, painted nails. I don't have that, so I don't get noticed. I don't stand out anywhere in any way. I should, but I don't. I should be fighting men off with a stick, but I'm not. And so that was basically part of a conversation that we just sort of had back and forth, and she was just sort of, having a dialogue of our own. And that's how she felt. And I've been there. I felt that. There's and she's 22, I believe. And I felt that especially at 22, through 23, through 25, 26, 27, 28. 28 was my turning point where I really stopped putting my value in other people's validations. Yeah. That was the moment I had to hit the reset button and say, well, what really am I? If nobody else sees that, what am I to me? it can be really difficult sort of giving the cliche kind of thing to somebody, because when you're in that spot, you don't want to hear the cliche because you've heard it a million times. You know, you might
say it.
You have to love yourself. If you want to love anybody else, it has to start with you. It has to be with you. It has to be the number one priority for you to build entirely everything that you are made out of and that you love and that you wish to give. That has to be number one at the forefront and be embellished until it is simply you are oozing.
Let me ask you this. So this individual, you've known for?
I've only known her for a couple months. I've known her from probably like.
What stands out to you about her?
Well, I mean, she's fun to talk to. We talk about video games. That's actually how we met. Was talking about video games online. And she likes this cartoon, and she likes this video game, and she likes these movies, and she's got this sense of humor. And so our dialogue was just, sharing things that we like with each other. There's a friend who lives out in Ohio, I believe, Columbus, just north of Columbus. And I like making friends. I made this internet friend, and it's, she's somebody fun to talk to. I don't know her well enough.
Super well.
Oh no, yeah, exactly. So but I know that she's the kind of person I enjoy talking to because she's fun and she's nice and she's pretty and she's fun to talk. She's intelligent, and those are good qualities in a person. Somebody who I can share dialogue, even if our dialogue is about the common interest. Video game. We've had discussions about politics. We've had discussions about women's rights. We've had, these kinds of exchanges. So it's a very worthwhile endeavor to talk to her because it's good convo.
Do you learn?
Well, most importantly is I learn her perspective. I learn the things that she has to offer that I might not have heard from somebody or garnered from myself. So yeah, absolutely.
There's another cliche.
Oh, I love these.
I have another cliche to share.
Okay.
The whole, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Does it?
Does sound exist if there weren't ears for it? That what she was talking about kind of made me think of that. If there's nobody to appreciate me, am I still valuable?
Not worthwhile.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like the tree falls in the woods thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great question. I mean, at some point when we get, aware of, well, do I want to decide my worth?
Yeah.
Or do I want my worth to literally be 100% tied to if somebody else finds me worth it?
Right.
Because I mean, externally, everybody's always going to have an opinion, and everybody's going to be able to look at you and say this, that, and the other, and somebody else might look at you and say something else. And there's always going to be, these opinions and expectations and things placed from the outside on all of us that we can or can choose not to.
Yeah.
Value above our own sense of ourselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that made me think of the tree falls in the woods thing.
Very much. Very, very, very much. It can be hard because especially what's hard that a lot of people do. Again, almost every life lesson that I discuss here is things that I just know through firsthand experience. There's a lot of observation with seeing what people go through, but most of what I speak through is simply where I've been before. One of the hardest things, and this is almost soul crushing because you create it for yourself, is to have people that do value except for the one person you want to value who isn't, right? Oh man, that's rough. That's a rough way to do it. Haley actually
Let's
says,
read some of these if we.
Yeah, certainly. A lot of them is just good sort of chat room banter, but I'm really relating to that. I know how it feels to feel that I'm obsolete and that my existence doesn't matter, especially around the time anxiety and panic, etc., was developing. And honestly, she probably creates a lot of meaning in other people because I feel like one of the reasons why people exist to create meaning in other people's lives. So. And then Vipart adds the conversation. It's very hard to feel appreciated, when you're basing everything on how others treat you. Like John said, you have to love yourself, and that's probably the hardest thing. It is. The beginning step is feeling the reward of loving yourself. As you work on it, when I've learned to do this, is as I've learned to treat myself well and to give myself the priority. what it means is not to take away from other people, not to benefit myself at people's expense. Some people may interpret it like that, and that sucks, but it's kind of what you have no control over that. As long as I don't think you're doing it like in malice or with like bad intention to, really say, I got to step away from this because this needs to be focused on. It's okay to do that. If you're like, oh, well, I'm going to stomp all over you so I can feel better about myself, that's where these things become an issue.
Yeah.
But as you genuinely start to say, well, what's good for me? What benefits me? What gives me, going to the gym all the time and eating healthier and, making sure I focus on my work and do the things that I need to do. And as I see myself sort of getting these things ready and, preparing for them and then following through and the benefits that it gives me, I feel more capable and I feel more confident. And I feel as if somebody comes up to me needing something, I am way more equipped to give them what they need almost immediately. I
can also, because I think we've all been through this shift in a way from feeling like a pattern of not feeling important, a pattern of feeling obsolete.
Yeah.
And then at some point, really having to challenge that because, to live feeling obsolete for a while sucks, but to live feeling obsolete forever and ever,
yes,
no,
right,
impossible.
Yeah.
And well, at least let's hope so. So,
sure.
So what the other thing going through my mind right now is I read something the other day that was talking that the title of it was, "You are what you love, not what loves you." And one thing that I notice about my experience is that if I'm feeling, we've talked about this before quite a bit, if I'm feeling isolated or alone or insignificant, the thing that really pulls me out of that is to go recognize the meaning in elsewhere,
sure,
in something or someone. And a comment a few back ago said something like, what was it?
You want to scroll up a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. And then we have another couple that I'll get to shortly. One sent to my Facebook personally.
Oh, right there. Okay. Haley.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why people exist is to create meaning in other people's lives. And I believe that's absolutely true. But I also believe that one of the main ways to actually affect other people is to recognize the meaning in them, not necessarily be looking for, do you see my meaning?
Yeah.
But if I make a point on a daily basis, and this is necessary as a therapist, if I make a point on a daily basis to see and honor what is in you, regardless of me, absent of my observation, that's where I feel fulfilled. Really, you know what I mean?
Is to allow somebody else to be.
I feel fulfilled when I recognize beauty or value or something in something else.
Sure.
Not necessarily, hey, am I performing in a way that makes me important to you?
Right.
That actually is sort of kind of a bottomless, or has been a bottomless pit for me. So, and tell me your take on this, but I really do feel like to create most meaning in life isn't to be deemed meaningful, but to go deem meaning in others and other places, and to really recognize those kinds of things is that's where I feel the most powerful in terms of meaning and purpose.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned some time back that one of the biggest things that as a therapist, one of the biggest things is by
render myself unnecessary.
To render yourself unnecessary, to help somebody to the point where you are no longer needed to help them grow. But one thing that I love that you had said was therapy teaches you just as much about yourself, because you're constantly you're learning how you analyze and project information to somebody.
Right.
That just as much, it benefits you equally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you become better. You're putting it into practice. You're simply exercising your choices to understand things further.
Yeah, I had an experience today. I did an intake assessment with this guy who just got out of prison after about 10 years, and he's young. He's only like 28, 29, somewhere in there. So he went to prison when he was 18. He spent his entire young adult life there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he gets out. And so first of all, if it's not something that you've had a lot of exposure to, have never walked through, then you might not just know by nature that the transition getting out of prison is a lot more traumatic than going in.
Sure.
It's incredibly traumatic because institutionalization is a real thing. And this guy has spent his majority of his young adult life in prison, actually all of his adult life so far. That's the only place that he's been.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he identifies. That's how he has built his own self-identity, his own structure of understanding himself. And, I was meeting with him today for the first time and went into that some with him because he was he's having panic attacks. Like he's freaking out because he has never, he's like, what is this? How am I supposed to be out here?
Right.
The only thing I know how to do is be locked in
it's like a culture shock.
Yes, it's a huge culture shock. It's like taking somebody from one planet and putting them on a different planet and saying, figure out how to breathe in that atmosphere.
Right.
Or, taking, myself and dropping me in China and saying, okay, go be a CEO tomorrow, figure it out, go impress us.
Right.
And it's really, really difficult. And so in going through just his experience, I watched this relief sort of just like wash over him in terms of, he said to me a couple of things like, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, he feels like a freak, he's not. Put any of us in his last 10 years.
Absolutely.
We're going to look the
Everybody
exact
will
same
do
way.
literally the
We're
same
going to panic attack. We're going to have all kinds of stuff that goes on that's really, really challenging to navigate. And we're going to feel like an outsider and an imposter. You know what I mean? So anyway, I watched this just relief and this sense of, okay, somebody saw me, somebody witnessed me, just completely wash over him. And he left really, really, really warm and really wanting to come back and everything. And it was cool. And there was no discussion about, well, this is who I am. I'm Michelle.
Yeah.
So here it is. What do you think?
Right.
And here's what I can do. And here's what and here's what I think of you. How do you feel about that? It wasn't that at all. Literally all we did was him.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, that's where I feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm going to do what I do well, it's going to be absent of me.
Yeah.
I like take me out of the picture.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the way to feel meaningful. In fact, is, it seems counterintuitive, but to look for meaning in others, not in myself.
Right.
Really. Does that make sense?
It does.
How I put that?
Yep. And still some conversation coming along. Very nihilist point of view with, unfortunately, we'll all be rotting one day. And, life is obsolete. We're already obsolete. Death is the only absolute. Fair observation. So our prison system actively creates these issues. Sadly, there's no rehabilitation. They send the inmates out without real world skills. Only thing they know is crime in prison, so they go right back. They want to go back. Like it's
often
you seek out comfort. Yeah,
they want to go home.
Yeah, it's literally that's their new
drop somebody in
comfort.
Iraq where they have that level of loyalty and that level of protection with other people, that kind of family built in a traumatic situation. That becomes where they're from more than wherever they're actually from. The same goes for prison.
Sure. So we have another one that comes up, and this one is, hey, so I'm having trouble with breakup. I'm torn between being furiously angry that someone I put every bit of myself into turned abusive. He made me feel like a chore, so I gave up on my needs and morphed myself into his life, and he turned around and said it was my fault for suffocating him. I don't want to miss him, but I really do. Since breaking up, I've gotten my friends back, and I'm feeling all right, but I have this nagging little knot in my stomach that misses him. How do I cope with this? I don't know if this question even makes sense. I guess I'm just looking for a way to cope. Makes complete sense, and
you were talking about that a little bit ago.
Yeah, it is not unnatural.
When the one person.
Yeah.
When the one person, so surrounded by these people, these friends that she's rebuilding, maybe reconnecting.
Yeah.
Relationships and such.
And it's still a good situation. It's good for you, but you still have that focus. You still have that. That's very natural.
This one over here.
I want this one
to
be the right situation. I want this situation to be what it's supposed to be the one that makes me happy, to be the one that I can feel comfort in.
How have you coped with that when you felt like that?
Oh, God. Well, there's a variety of different ways. It really depends on sort of like the breakup and how everything sort of plays out there. Haley says frontier burritos for coping, which is it's not a bad, some people do turn to food. Some people turn to video games. Some people turn to friends. Some people turn to, destructive activities. But I think a lot of people also, really, they find ways that are just good for them. What I do, fighting depression is a really tricky thing. And with the whole Christina thing, if anybody hasn't heard about this whole saga, for the past 2 years or whatever, it's been a great.
She was this for you.
Yeah.
The person that you torn between being furiously angry, someone I put every bit of myself into.
Very upset.
Didn't get what
I invested a lot.
Yeah, you invested a lot. Didn't get what you wanted. She toyed with you.
Right.
There was,
yeah.
You can use this word or not, but there was some abuse of your
psyche.
Yes.
There was a lot of psychological abuse there.
Yeah, there was a lot
very much was. And what I had to do is this is kind of an interesting technique that I did, and I adapted this for this particular situation because I had dug myself in pretty deep emotionally. It was a big investment for me. What I did was I made this series of videos called Stupid Day videos, and what Stupid Day was me just doing dumb things. And by being Stupid Day, it wasn't that I felt that I was stupid or that what I was doing was stupid, but I was doing fun, dumb things for the sake of unabashedly expressing things the way I do. Enjoyment.
To experience.
To be silly, to make my friends laugh, to do things that I would normally want to do if this person were never a factor. It was, what does John do? He does fun, stupid stuff. And so I went back to doing that, to make myself laugh, to be just as silly as I could and enjoy every minute of what I was doing.
This is what I often tell people and really do believe is when something has turned out to be a dead end road, and we didn't expect that. We really thought it was going to go, but bam, it was a brick wall, and it was a really painful one.
Yeah.
We have that opportunity, responsibility to. I have to go find a way to make life about something else now. Yeah. Because this was a brick wall.
Yeah.
This is not a. Yeah. I can't make that become a road.
Right.
It is what it is. So to begin making life about something else like you're talking about, to start emphasizing fun.
Yeah.
My life, even if it's just for this 30 minutes in a day, I put aside the depression, I put aside the resentment, I put aside the what I didn't receive, and I make my life for this 30 minutes about fun.
Yeah.
And it's a practice in that, and that sounds really, it sounds kind of juvenile and it sounds minimal, but it is where the magic happens in terms of how do I lift myself out of this?
Yeah.
You do that, take time, like these bits and pieces of time. Life is going to be about my brother for this hour.
Yeah.
Life is going to be about how I treat a stranger for this 10 minutes. My life right now is going to be about having a really good time. My life is going to be about whatever. If I can decide what is meaningful to me in this period of time. And I do that consistently over time. Time will heal what reason cannot heal.
Yeah.
Logically, grief is not logical.
You will beat yourself up forever if you just try to rationalize.
Think your way through it, which is why to jump ship, to abandon ship and make life about something else for even if it's just 10 minutes at a time.
The road back to you, because when you go down that dead end road, the road back to you is you. Look at the things that made you. Look at the things that you love and the things that you will do always, unabashedly yourself. Stupid Day was that for me, surrounding myself with my cats and my video games and my drawings and making silly videos on the internet for people to enjoy. And that was like, if this
helping anybody else that's in pain.
Yeah, helping other people. If this one girl was not a factor in my life, these are the things I would want to be doing as a constant. Right. So do those again. Remember those things. Do what you love, and just feel the genuine nature. And it can be hard. There are days where I woke up and everything was gray and monochrome and awful, and I didn't want to get out of bed.
Well, and you have to trust that when you have those days, that doesn't mean progress isn't happening.
Right.
Time will heal what reason doesn't heal. And time will heal what you can't force to heal.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, find ways to make life about something else. Because we've all made I don't know if I want to use the word mistake, but the move to have somebody be what life is mainly about. That one person.
Absolutely.
My life is revolves around, focuses on that person.
Yep.
And sometimes that person, because people do what they do, and that's not always consistent, and that's not always reliable, and sometimes they waver, they can go.
Yep.
they can go do something. Or I might put all of myself, my whole life, I make it about a certain business endeavor and it tanks,
Right.
or something like that. I mean, I have to consistently continue to resiliently practice. Okay, now I'm going to make it about this.
Yeah.
My existence today, I'm going to choose that it's going to be this.
Yes.
Even if it's just moments.
Yeah. It is a constant and it is a choice.
It works.
Yeah.
And obviously, like that empty, that thing you're talking about, which it comes back. I'm not saying that it's gonna, because that's the other thing that you didn't say it, but I think everybody has felt like, well, when I want it gone now.
Yeah, there's no easy
I want
button.
to feel this
Yeah,
zero
it is.
now. I want this away now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is a process, and if there was an easy mode to it, it'd be fantastic. There's
a couple easy modes. One of them is like, psychedelic drugs, but that leads somewhere.
That's true.
Not good.
Yeah, they're easy escapes, indulgences.
They're easy escapes. Yeah, they're easy escapes. But really, what they end up being are trapdoors.
That's the problem. Yeah, it's a false sense of growth and progress. Yep. Hurting yourself and hurting other people along the way will definitely lead to more problems. Let's see. Yes. So Haley says, I feel like making human connections, giving back to yourself and to the community really helps too. That's personal for myself. View Pirate says,
I like this.
I have firsthand experience healing from an abusive relationship. Doing what you love and enjoy is the best way to move forward, but you absolutely cannot think yourself through it.
Right.
You'll blame yourself. You'll hate yourself. You'll beat yourself into the ground over and over again. You can't reason it away. And that was the hardest part for me because I think logically as opposed to emotionally.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. This is
That's
like
a perfect way to put
ultimate
it.
human dichotomy is how to deal with these things, logic versus emotion. And it is different for everybody. And there's no answer I could just give to say, hey, if you do this, it'll be fine. I can give suggestions, but it will still, I know it works for me and it worked best for me.
Well, and we're meaning-making machines.
Yeah.
So when somebody that appeared so loving and appeared so important and appeared so loyal turns out not to be those things, it's confusing and it's baffling. And we are meaning-making machines, and sometimes we will attach to that kind of desperately, like, no, I need to understand.
Yeah.
And sometimes the answer to that is no.
You will sometimes just not get that answer.
Sure.
With the Christine situation, there was a long time where I kept thinking I want to understand it so I can get closure.
Closure, yeah.
And because we want closure. We want to say, okay, here's the end of the chapter definitively, therefore I can take this and move forward. And there are times where you may not have had the opportunity. This person may move away and never talk to you again. This person may die and may never talk to them again. There are things beyond our control that sometimes will not allow for closure.
Sure.
And if you're forced to make closure at that point, you have the capability to make closure of yourself before then. It's very hard to do, and it took me tremendously longer than I ever expected. I mean, you saw me through this thing for a year and a half, before I was finally able to legitimately shut the door and go, holy crap.
We've seen each other through these things several times.
We have. Absolutely.
Over the years.
No.
And each time, I mean, man, I think I would love it if at some point it just stopped hurting because I had figured out how to heal in the past. I wish it wouldn't hurt me just as much 5 years later.
Right.
And I mean, every time I've watched you go through it or you've watched me go through it, it hurts every time.
Every time.
Not necessarily less, possibly differently, but not necessarily less just because it has. But what does develop is the ability to have that resilience and have that hope and recognize, like, this is a matter of time. I mean, I've heard you say that a lot of times. Like, I know it's a matter of time. I know it's going to get better.
Yeah.
I know it's going to get better. I've heard you say that before.
And in the middle of it, it's the hardest storm to see out of.
And sometimes when you've said that, I've been like, wow, how does he believe that? Because when I'm in that, I don't believe that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, bullshit.
It feels like crock.
Yeah. So times when I've heard you say that, I'm like, God, John has an ability that I freaking don't exercise.
Yeah.
Because when I'm in it, I'm like, it's all over and it all sucks, and that's all that's gonna, you know what I mean? I have that short vision, that short attention span sometimes.
So the question is, what do I do if I put my focus into good things? Because I've been trying to, and everything reminds me of the good parts. Makes me want to trying and just shut down. Yes. The closure for a relationship for me is to have to look at it and say, what was good, what was bad is gone. And this usually comes way after the fact, after I've, really gone through my genuine mourning period. it's time, especially if it's fresh. And the thing is, when I was with Heather, it was a 3-year-long relationship that took me 3 months to really like settle down, maybe 5 or 6 months, because everything ended in May, and by the time I had met you in August, things were really coming to a close at that point for me emotionally. Whereas with Christina, I dated her for 5 months. It took me 1.5 years. So there's no answer to, I've always heard like this thing where however long you date somebody, half that time afterwards is spent recovering. You date somebody for a year, it takes 6 months to get over it. You date somebody 2 years, it takes a year to get over it. Not true. There is no solid, there's no equation that just makes these things easier. And you really have to know that days will be hard. And
it's more about how much meaning you assign to it.
Right.
Like the meaning that you attributed to it. Because the meaning you assigned to Christina, even though it was brief, it might have been the most immense that you've ever assigned to anybody that you loved.
I think it was. And it was me assigning that. It was me making the choice to put that much value into it. And so it took that much more to pull me out of it. Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't discount a person's importance to you if things don't work, To
answer, how do you said just now in the matter of time, it is that. There's not what's that other cliche? The quickest way out is through.
Yeah.
It's a reality about going through a grief and a loss. And we've talked about this too. What grief and loss really is on the other side of that coin is joy. It's valuing a person, whether I'm happy that I have them or whether I'm grieving because I lost him.
Yeah.
Either way, it's feeling the value and the worth of that situation or that experience or that person. And sometimes that's just a necessary thing to allow us to feel.
Right. And there's a follow-up with this other one. V Pirate says, I'm still healing from my abuse. I thought I was mostly healed because logically I knew it wasn't my fault. But just the other night I exploded. And I was shouting about how much I hate her and how badly she messed me up and ranting and raving and venting, and I felt so much better about everything. Pain is not gone, but it's far more in perspective. And Haley follows it up. Ranting and raving is sometimes all you can do, and it's perfectly great to do because it's a way of expressing yourself, finding outlets. Everyone is different on how they cope with sorrow and crap. And yes, I think the most important thing you can do is simply, if you hold it in, it will destroy you. It is the easiest way to make you feel as if everything is the worst thing in the world.
John has had a fear of anger at times.
Yeah.
And a guilt, feeling angry. And with the Christina thing, once you allowed yourself...
I had to get pissed at her.
Yeah.
I had to get absolutely pissed. And because I wanted to say, well, she's human and she's learning and she's doing things her way and I can't fault that. And yes, now I can look at that and say...
And that's all true.
It is. But I wasn't allowing myself to be angry when I needed to because I needed that catharsis to actually push me through because I was being too passive about it and it wasn't helping me. I needed to be pissed. I needed to be angry. There was a time I went through one of my very first big breakups in high school and I was talking to a friend of mine, Jordan, and Jordan Stevens. Oh yeah, different. Yeah, that's right. He's another Jordan. Anyway, different Jordan. But what happened was he said, I want you to do, I was on the phone with him just crying. I was miserable and I was really upset and I was trying to figure out what to do. And he said, I need you to take a pillow, put it up to your face and just scream as loud as you can and pretend all your anger and all your hate and all your misery is just this disgusting, nasty bile that's coming out of your mouth and just going everywhere. And I was like, this is not going to work, it's whatever, right? And I did it. And lo and effing behold, I felt almost immediately better because I envisioned it. I imagined that, all of it really was just a ball of disgustingness inside me and I was releasing it. And while it didn't solve the problem, it made me look at it and go, this is something that is not defined by me. This is something that I am choosing to hold within and I have to find a way to express it. And since then, finding ways to express it, whether through art or music or just anger, is completely acceptable. It's completely viable. And venting and talking to somebody and laying it out in front of you objectively to look at is absolutely the most important first step in saying, where do I go from here? Because if you don't have the map, you're just going to guess what the next step is. And you might stumble across it accidentally, but chances are you won't. Yeah, and she says, let's see, I hate feeling angry because I feel so bad when I am. I'm way too passive. And I'm learning the appropriate ways to deal with these things. V-Pirate also says you can learn just as much about yourself from someone who treats you like shit as you would someone who treats you great. Haley also says, right above, like my outlet is writing and church personally, especially when I'm feeling particularly haunted and just having an awful day. So finding the things that are sort of like your constant go-tos.
I'm way too passive. Hate feeling angry because I feel so bad when I am.
Yeah, that's very much like me. I want to understand people and I want to get situations. And I think that sort of disallows me. Well, it did. Maybe I'm better about it now. It disallowed me from being angry when I need to be, so I can sort of jump that hurdle. And the Christina thing was very big proof of that, you know? And I think it's a fact that I knew deep in my mind. It was like, oh yeah, that'll work. But when you're in a situation, it's so hard to be like, well, no. It's a little bit different because I've got this perspective that you possibly couldn't see, you know?
Yeah.
You couldn't possibly see. So yeah, it's when you're in the middle of it, even your own advice seems kind of like, well, I'm the exception right now. How many times have you done that? Oh, we all do it. Every one of us, all the time. I could give objective advice to people all day long and be like, hey, I promise it doesn't work. And then when it's me, it's like, oh, but not me. Not John.
But this is unique pain.
Yeah, this is, the situation's different, I promise. Every time. Every single time.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree, Pirate. It feels like, I feel like knowing my ex and being hurt as much as I was molded me into the person I am today, and I'm proud of who I am. And Heather was that for me.
Yeah.
Heather was absolutely that moment where I looked at it and I go, I learned so much about myself and what I didn't actually want in my life. And it really trained me to be, it propelled me into a very, like the biggest step I've ever taken in my life. And it was the hardest I've ever been to. And I've never been back there. Even the Christina situation was not that, you know? So. Yeah,
I know what you mean by that.
Exactly. Even though it near ruined me, that relationship was the cause of a lot of personal growth within myself. That is the best thing I've ever read. While I'm nowhere close to done growing, good. It was one of the more helpful things. But yeah, man, I'm never going to have it all figured out. I'm going to keep growing. I'm going to keep stumbling. I'm going to keep making mistakes. And I hope that I minimize them on certain levels where I've really struggled to grow before. That's Chris.
Are you bored?
Christina just texted me.
Say something.
Yes.
Let's blast her.
Boom.
Boom.
Weird. Well, I'm just gonna activate.
Now that you texted me, I'm bored.
Yeah, I'm bored now. Get a clue. Okay.
Wow.
That's strange. I feel like I'll be growing till the end. Well, I'll be growing until I'm at the end of my life. Me too. Absolutely. No, it's hard. I'm not done doing things that harm me. I'm not doing things that will harm other people. And I want to minimize that as much as possible. So to anybody, heck off. Should tell her. To anybody that I inevitably, disappoint or hurt, I'm sorry. I don't want that to happen, but I'm human. I'm fallible, incredibly. So I'm doing my best to minimize it, truly. But
what do you mean by that?
To minimize the way I hurt people, to use my experiences to understand how to deal with situations as best I can, so I don't needlessly involve people with things that hurt them by proximity of me learning. It's not like, sorry, but I'm going to go out and kill your dog tomorrow, or, beat up your boyfriend or whatever, or you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. But, as I learn, as I make mistakes, and as I
sometimes the byproduct is
right.
damage.
Exactly. And whether it's a customer or a family member or a friend or a relationship, I don't want to have anybody else hurt, but I'm sure things I say will disappoint people and make people feel invalidated. There's going to be things like that. And that's, I'm sorry. For me, inevitably being very far from perfect. So, sorry.
I like the heck the F off.
Heck the F off. All right. So, yeah, this is always a tricky one. This is, I think, a good one to bring up because it's sort of always on somebody's plate.
Yeah.
This is like the biggest constant I think that we all sort of deal with is figuring out people while we figure out ourselves.
Yeah. In some ways, life is that series of gains and losses.
By gains, you mean lifting sick ass weights.
Yeah. That's what I mean with that face you're making.
Cool.
That's the meaning. Yeah.
I think some of the best ways to heal from anything lie in cliches. Yes, I believe that stereotypes begin with a grain of truth and cliches begin with a boulder. I think so. It's easy to look at like cliches and stereotypes and actually sort of identify them as, oh, well, because it's said so much, it can't be true. But really, the reason they're said so much,
Yeah, there's a reason cliches are cliches.
yeah, is because they've you know, sedimentary pebbles grow and grow and grow until you go, oh man, like that is, it's literally the culmination of millions of people daily experiencing the same thing, and it sort of manifests itself into a familiar phrase.
So if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it,
Yeah,
doesn't make a sound. If I'm here and nobody's here to see me or value me, do I still exist as a valuable person?
No.
Nope.
Not you.
Not me.
Not you. Ooh.
Everybody else?
Yeah. Go home by yourself. That way I don't have to pretend that you hold any worth to me.
Okay.
Dang it, no, Michelle. I apologize.
For what?
For lying to you.
I wasn't listening. What did you say?
I don't know. It's just some cool stuff.
You said something awesome?
Yeah, so this is really rad. I was talking about motorcycles and just backwards hats.
Are you still eating well? Like, are you doing the wise choices still? Carrots kind of thing?
I'm still doing a lot better. I mean, there are certain days where out of convenience or necessity to eat that like I just go, I need food. As a whole, though, I'm still trying to eat reasonably better than before.
Do you want a Three Musketeers?
No.
You want a Cheeto?
Maybe. I'll probably have a Cheeto at some point. I'm sure this has come to, or I'm sure this has to come from learning on my own, but any advice on how you assign your worth to yourself after taking it all and putting it into your abuser? Sure, that was me for a year and a half. And it really will vary from person to person. And I think it really has to do with you really saying that there's life before this person, there's life after this person. So before this person, what were you? What did you do? Because this person didn't come to give you value. This person saw a value in you. And if you chose to, pull it all off and give to them, that's one thing. But before this person, what were you? What did you do? What did you love? What did you like? What are the things that you would do if this person were not a factor? And I think trying to focus on saying, well, I need to love the things that I love. I need to find the passions that I held before.
I think maybe a good word for that, rather than advice on how to assign worth, would be, creating that, making that decision and creating for yourself, what do I want it to be? What do I want to feel like? What worth do I want to believe about myself? You know what I mean? You get to pick.
To create.
You get to choose. Nobody gets to choose for you but you.
Yeah. How
much you're worth or not worth. You're the person that gets to make that decision about how you feel with that. And what's so weird about abusive relationships is it distorts that. We get really confused. And that's an easy thing to forget. And it's an easy thing that can be minimized a lot by that other person, and because that's the goal. Like when you're with an abuser, what they want is to tear down some part of you so that they can, to keep you in a certain size. And so but one of the ways that I've heard this put that I loved was, I had gotten out of an abusive relationship. I was with Carlos for a while, and he was a dick and mean and horrible and a cheater and just awful. And I felt like I could barely breathe. I could hardly get out of bed in the morning. It was hard to walk. Like the depression was so awful.
Yeah, it takes over everything, every facet of your being.
And somebody said to me something to the effect of, wow, he told you a lot of lies about you.
Oh. That's an interesting way to phrase that.
I liked it.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I heard that, I was like, blink, blink, blink.
Yeah.
Kind of, it took me, back a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. What a thing to hear.
Because I believed a lot of the pain that I had.
Yeah.
Like I believed it. I endorsed it.
Yeah. Yeah. You took those and you gave them power.
I did.
Here's the kicker. I hardly remember who I was because I spent so long trying so hard to stifle myself to not feel like a burden that it's hard to get a grasp on who I was. And this is where you have the opportunity to say, well, I'm starting fresh, clean slate. What do I want? What do I want to be? Because what you choose is what you are. And I mean, you are what you love,
Not what loves
not
you.
what loves you. And absolutely, it is imperative to say, well, what do I want? Because this is the opportunity for you to say, well, I've always wanted to be a vet, or I've always wanted to get into painting, or I've always wanted to go snowboarding, or whatever it is. Find that. I mean, and try it. And it's not that everything you choose will be successful, but that builds you even more in saying, well, now I'm defined by knowing that this is not for me. And let's try something else. And let's go from there. And let's try again. And maybe I really want to get into watching all of the Criterion films, or maybe I really want to get into, editing music, or anything. Literally try something, pick something up, go on YouTube and look for a hobby and say, how do I get into molding pots or making dreidels? I don't know what it is. It could be,
Making dreidels.
Exactly.
Let's make a dreidel.
Yeah, quotable excerpts from our show. It's the opportunity to create yourself constantly. That is basically what we are. Your response is something that you create to anything that happens around you. And you get to create what you want to be every single day, a reaction, a response, or how you choose to interpret anything. What you choose to do, all of it is creation. And so you get to create everything.
Do you remember when I talked about the difference between react and respond?
Yes.
What was that?
Probably a pebble.
You have somebody out there trying to get your attention.
Maybe. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to check real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
That's weird. I'll be right back. You want to keep talking?
Okay. John has a Romeo out on the balcony or something. I forget what I was saying. Oh yeah. So the difference between react and respond, I had talked to John about this before, that the word respond, it comes from a Latin root. And respond literally it means pledge. So to respond meaning to re-pledge. So reaction being something like, I see something going on in front of me, I don't like it, but I take it, I smear it all over myself, and I'm going to act it out the same way back. Whereas responding, re-pledging, this is my worth, or this is what I've decided that I am. I think it's a really neat, way to look at the difference between the two. Reaction is it's such a way to give over that remote control to somebody else, and to give somebody else the puppet strings to your emotions, your feelings, your behaviors. And to respond is something that we can do independently of anybody else's view, estimation, evaluation, assessment of our worth. Hated myself because of my abuser, because he hated me, and so much of myself was put in him. I hated myself too. I forgot who I was too, and really I did start as clean a slate. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that, abusive relationships, really understanding that the dynamic of them is aimed at shrinking a person, is aimed at reducing someone to something smaller than they really are. The hardest thing to come to terms with after being abused is realizing that person may have actually loved you, and that was their definition of love. And that's awful. Can you say more about that? Realizing that person may have actually loved you, and that was their definition of love. That's interesting. I don't know if John got murdered or what. but it has me a little bit anxious because actually something, I mean, really there was a really strange, I don't know, something slamming against the window, and we're up on a second story, so that would have to be like intentional, or some kind of animal or bird, or something happening to his car. So I don't know. I think he's out there. What if they go to someone else and they treat someone else the same way? Yeah. That concept as well. People treat you how they feel inside. Nobody ever treats you the way they treat you based on you. They treat you how they treat you based on them. Like if I'm kind to somebody, I'm not kind to them because they're so worth it. I'm kind to them because I'm kind. Because somebody else could be cruel to that person. Same person, same worth. But if that person is cruel, that's how they're going to come off. It doesn't really have anything to do with the object. In my experience, she took me around to her family. I met all of them. She wanted to make sure they loved me. She even wanted me to get her a promise ring. This guy I was with was so messed up in the head, and the way he loved me was the way he knew to love. His mom treated him in a similar way. Thinking of that now, it's like her definition of love is someone who makes her look good. Wow. Someone who makes her family proud. And while in and of itself, that's not a bad thing, that's really based on the external. It becomes awful when they change everything about you so that you would become what they need. That's a really profound way to put that. What frustrates me is I don't think my abuser was always intentionally abusive. I feel guilty for recognizing how much he ruined me because he didn't mean to. You know what I'm curious about? Did he feel like you hurt him? Like, was that his experience as well? Did he perceive you as abusive? Massive cruelty. Everybody send positive vibes for John, because this is really kind of bizarre. I don't think he's ever stepped out on one of these this long. I like how you put that about when they change everything about you so that you would become what they need. Or so that we change everything about us so that we can try to become what they need. In my experience, my abuser thought that I was abusive. Wow. And while I didn't always treat her right, and I will acknowledge that, I wasn't the one cheating and blaming it on the victim. So you were perceived as abusive. Okay. My abuser said I was abusive multiple times. I think it was a way to manipulate me. Abusers often try to turn the tables. Have any of you guys ever heard of gaslighting? It's a psychological tactic used by abusers. It's a really effective one as well. And it's based on a play by, I can't remember who, but this guy wrote this play about a couple. This woman married this guy, and I think he started having an affair or something like that, and he wanted to get her out of the picture, his wife. He wanted to get his wife out of the picture. So what he did was he went upstairs in the attic and he started making weird noises, and then he would play with the lights in the home, and she would be like, do you hear that? Do you see that? Did you see that? And he would essentially like, no, you're crazy. Like, he acted like she was insane. So he messed with her head. He mind fucked her on purpose so that he could convince her she was crazy. Are you okay?
No, yeah, I'm fine actually.
What happened?
That was Christina.
What? Bullshit!
100%.
Whoa!
So I haven't seen her like a year and a half, so we chatted for just a couple minutes here. But like, this is one of those things where I'm going to tell you right now.
Wow.
You will be okay. You will look at this person and you will not.
How do you feel? How do you feel? What do you feel?
I feel nothing for her, which is awesome. Like, I mean, like it's really like, oh, that's a person I remember. And the conversation was very nice. And I think she probably felt that I was like not like, oh my God, you're here. This is so great. Like, because I was just like, oh, I didn't expect this. How are you? And she's talking about like how she's doing well in school, and it's like right on.
Wow.
It's really good. Yeah, no, and it's really cool because we'll say 6 months ago, I probably would have been pretty flustered, to be completely honest.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
Sean.
I know. Well, this is one of those. That's weird.
Yeah.
Unprecedented. I had no idea. Yeah. Yeah. How bizarre.
I knew it was Christina.
How bizarre. Yeah.
Damn.
No, really interesting. And I mean,
Hold up.
yeah.
Because we were in the middle of
No, sure. Let's go for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like, it's fascinating because I mean, I had asked a question like, those of you that have been in abusive relationships, did your abuser call you that?
No.
Were you perceived as abusive by that person? And
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. They will project that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They will give you
and
that.
I talked a little bit about the gaslighting thing.
Yeah.
Which is such a mind fuck. It turns, it's funhouse mirror. It messes with your head
Gaslighting
so much.
Ghosting. And
you really are like, am I insane? Am I crazy? Am I awful?
Right.
It can really mess with your view of what's going on. And
what
it
have I really
distorts,
done?
it messes with the reality.
Yeah. Holy smokes.
How are you?
I know. It's weird to like look at this and be like.
It's more shocking for me, maybe.
Yeah, maybe at this point I was kind of like, oh, you're here.
I like my Cheetos.
Okay. You're gaslighting me. Yeah, no, I feel really good about this situation, not actually holding any, because like I don't feel like any tinge of like, oh, I miss what this was. Again, a year ago, 6 months ago, I would have probably, it still would have like alarmed me, for sure, for certain. Back in August when she hit me up out of nowhere after 8 months of no communication, it was like I did feel like that weird sort of like pit of my stomach uneasiness, and it wasn't like
Yeah, I remember like you felt like it set you back.
Yeah, it very much did.
Way far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was definitely a really, really difficult situation, and
back in normal position.
Yeah, exactly. This is where we belong. So, yeah, really strange. I was not expecting that. But I also think this is kind of one of those things where like in your life, as like the turning point happens and as you're pushing forward to something else bigger and better and newer, this kind of thing comes up and says, hey, remember me? This is the test. What's it going to be? Because when I was seeing Kelly last August, I had just started talking to her and we actually had a conversation the evening before.
I'm sorry, which one was Kelly?
Kelly, we only dated for like 2 weeks maybe, and she broke up with me, and then she wanted to get back together. It was a really brief little thing. It was
I'm not remembering. I'm sure you.
I'm sure you. I've told you about her. It was very brief. It was a really short little situation, and so we were talking.
I met Kelly in the park.
That was in the park. That's correct. Yes. At that point, we weren't dating.
Right.
And so we were talking like the first evening, like we would call each other and we were talking and just having a conversation. And she was like, "So what if Christina like contacts you? What would you do? What would you do if she called you the next day?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like I don't think I would respond to it like in well, I don't even remember what I said, but and then sure enough, Christina actually texted me that next day as I was like, you know what, I'm interested in this Kelly person. Okay, let's put everything aside and focus on this. And then Christina, her thing pops up, and I was like, oh wait, hold on, I actually wasn't expecting this. And while I wasn't like, oh, I miss you, this is so terrible, like I looked at it and I remember feeling really like, this is a monkey wrench. There's something here. But I said, okay, let's put it aside and let's focus on this. But I'm positive still in the back of my mind going, hey, remember me? I'm still a factor somewhere.
Right.
And right now I'm sort of like approaching a situation with somebody that maybe it feels like, hey, hey, this is the test. You know how you like tests? Well, this is the test.
Mhm.
And so for her to actually not just text, but to show up at my door.
What's the mentality with that? Where like you don't see somebody for a while, and you're like, but I'm gonna be here. Here I am.
Bizarre.
It's interesting, though.
And what's really cool is I look at this and I just go, I don't, think like, oh, you're such a terrible person. Like, I'm glad I'm moving on to something else. I look at it and just go, I hope life is well for you. And I genuinely want that. And I want things to be good and I want you to succeed. But I'm no longer part of that. And that's fine. It doesn't mean I wish any worse. I don't want anything bad. I want you to do well in your life for what your path is. But I'm on my path right now. And I'm in a situation right now that I'm choosing to be on, and it's going well for me. So that is where I'm going to continue to grow myself. Thank you for the good memories because there were many. Thank you for what you provided. Thank you for what you helped me learn.
Thank you for the pain of it too.
Thank you for the pain of it. Yeah, exactly. I want you to do well in your own proximity, in your own ecosystem, where you need to do well. And I'm no longer part of that, but it was good, Succeed far away from me. Yes. Yeah. How weird. What an interesting topic this evening. And for you to sort of witness this live to an extent. Didn't expect that.
You look fantastic.
Oh, man. I feel great. I feel good looking at this and going, all right. I feel genuinely victorious because I don't feel anxious. I don't feel upset. I don't feel confused even. I guess it's kind of weird that it happened, but I'm not, moved by it, which I think is very, very nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
And so anybody who's watching this since like April of last year has probably gotten to see a really interesting progression. And for this to sort of like be the result of it means it will get better. You go back and watch the progression of every episode of The Blue Lady and see this happen.
That's really true.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
you can watch every episode and watch John's.
Oh yeah, I was all over the place for a while, and yeah. What an incredible development, and I feel great that I feel great.
Oh, I know.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Good for you. Case in point.
Case in point.
Case in point.
That's right. This is it.
Living proof. In the flesh.
And I've had my down days. Oh, I've had them. I've had some of the hardest, trickiest, shittiest days. And it's nice to know that that set of them is behind me, for that scenario to have come to a proper conclusion,
Wow. You should have brought her in here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I told her, she was like, so you're doing a podcast? I was like, yeah, we were literally just talking about you. And she goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, we're talking about, how difficult it was for me on the show. I said, and your text came up. And she was like, you're shitting me. And I was like, no. Like, not everybody saw it, but we didn't publicize it. And Michelle saw the whole thing. And she was like, I said, yeah, this is an active conversation right now. And it actually pertains to you, I said this because it was very difficult for me to get over you. And so I have. And, it's interesting to see you. And then, it's nice.
Now I got to go show everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's nice that you stopped by. But, like, I didn't shoo her away or anything. But I said, well, I should get back to this. I have things to do. We can talk later if you want to. But, okay, I've got my thing going on. So
this is inspirational.
I feel great about knowing that, like, I've moved forward from that. I feel great, and at this point, a friendship could potentially blossom again someday. But right now, I don't even think that I'm interested in even pursuing that, and not like in a negative, weird way, but just in a, hey, what's done is done, and I wish you the best. And it's like seeing somebody who is the closest person to you at one point. Now they're just an acquaintance.
Yeah.
Right on. Keep doing you, and I got something. I got other things to do.
That's awesome, John.
I feel relieved. I'd actually, because when I was in the middle of that shitstorm, I didn't think I was going to be at this point that I'm at literally right this moment. Oh, man.
Do you feel like you could, like, run 10 miles?
I'm going to run up the Sandias and then jump off.
Yeah.
But without dying. Like, it's going to be awesome.
Whoa.
Yeah. Jump back to my house.
Cool.
No, I do. I feel energized. I really feel renewed, rejuvenated.
Damn, John.
Yeah. No, this is actually a pretty incredible thing to have
Good
happen.
for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad everybody got to see this.
How interesting. How interesting.
Not just saying like, yeah, I heard from Christine a few days ago and didn't she stop by, but
Yeah. They literally live during the show.
within.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knew?
Wow.
Who knew? That's great. I feel great.
Somebody knew.
Somebody knew. That's true. How bizarre. How bizarre.
How bizarre.
How bizarre. How bizarre. It's a good song.
Good song.
One of my favorite songs. What? Read Jude? Read Jude? I did not, but
Neither did I.
I guess it depends on. Yeah, rejuvenated.
Ah.
Yeah, I did say that.
But you meant rejude.
I meant read Jude. Yeah, a brand new Jew, exactly. Yeah, yeah, like when a Jew molts. Yeah, there's a big old. What are the?
Reju.
Yeah, what are the little curlies on the side of there?
I don't know what those were called.
I don't either. I don't want to throw out some ignorant term.
A
But-
brand new Jew.
Brand
Like
new Jew.
no ignorant terms like reju.
That's what Haley says. Crazy, man. I feel like $1,000,000. Anyway, before that happened, what were we talking about? I guess it's just sort of this stuff in general.
Yep.
I don't even know. Let's keep going. The thingies. The thingies. Oh, is that what we're talking about?
That's what they're called.
I think so. Yeah, that's the biblical term.
I know that the term for it is Hasidic Jew.
For the term for Hasidic Jew, or the term for these. These are little
No.
mini Hasidic Jews.
Yeah, yeah.
These are the Hasidic. Okay.
This is one Hasidic Jew.
Yeah.
This is my other
A,
Hasidic Jew.
B, 1, 2. There's like a whole bunch of alpha, omega. You
Right.
can do all kinds of different naming conventions. An issue I've been having the last couple of days. I've been having very severe ups and downs. A couple of days ago, I took a shower, brushed my teeth, and ate right for the first time in a while. And this will be continued. Getting yourself back on track is I'm curious to see where this ends up going.
Hmm.
Until then, I'm gonna have a Cheeto.
A Cheeto?
Yeah, I want the best Cheeto in the bag though. This one's from the club. This one's mine. Caveman would use this.
I think this one's a good one.
Which one do you want me to
You're
have?
only gonna have one?
Can I have two?
You can have two.
You have both of these? Or is that one yours?
You can have it. You'll have to let us know which one was better.
Okay, those are pretty good. Hold on. Let me cleanse my palate.
I'm really excited about this one right here.
Yours is better.
This is really?
Yeah. It had more Cheeto meat.
What if this one's even better? Cheeto meat.
A freshly killed Cheeto. Okay. A couple days ago, I took a shower. Oh, this is actually still ongoing.
Mhm.
Brushed my teeth. Ate right for the first time in a while. I felt like I was finally coming out of the depressive state I've been in. But the very next day, I couldn't move out of bed. In one of the worst depressions I've ever had, and I've been in, presumably. That's hard when you feel like you're making progress, and then like a day comes out and sort of interrupts everything. You know, you just wake up and it's just for some reason it's all like, oh man, no, I'm not ready for this. Not at all.
You pendulate.
Yeah. Also, guys, I gotta get off. Sorry, I can't stand it because I gotta get early tomorrow again. Hope things get better with some of you, and I'm super happy that you're feeling great about what? Well, probably that. To continue, been going back and forth so drastically and severely, I feel like I have no idea what's going on around me. It's really starting to freak me out. I just went through a breakup as well. Breakups are rough, man. The roughest of them all. Like the rough when you're golfing. The worst thing you could have possibly laughed at.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm super happy that you're feeling great about what you just experienced. It's great. I also hope that things are super good with you too, Michelle.
Excelente.
Excellente.
Excelente.
Yeah. Good night, friends. Good night. Always a pleasure having you here. Glad you got to join us this
See you
evening.
next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week. Unless Michelle is, I don't know. If something happens to you. My goons.
This is my abusive relationship.
I threaten you without doing anything
This
ever.
is my abuser.
Eat your Cheetos that you hand to me.
He's gaslighting me.
Let's see. I just went through a breakup as well, so I think that may have triggered it, but I don't know what's making me going back and forth in this one. One moment I'm on top of the world, and the next I can't move. As far as I'm concerned, that is normal. It's awful, and it's normal.
It also sounds a lot like a bipolarity. I don't mean like the disorder itself.
Mhm.
We all have this, but
The ups and downs.
the bipolarity, and that's like a rapid cycling.
Yeah.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, it's very all over the place. You demonize, you love, everything's great, everything's terrible. This is there were times even last year when I would look at the Christina situation and go, you know what? I'm good. And then days I wake up and I'd be like,
I remember
Yeah.
days that you were like, I feel fantastic. I think it's done.
Yeah, right?
I remember you saying that. I think it's gone.
I did. I
I'm
genuinely
so much
felt that
better. And
several
then
times.
boom, right back.
Right back to it.
Like you really think I reached a platform, but whoa, surprise, nope.
Yeah.
And that continued for you for a little while, thinking
Right.
that it was resolved.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. It was very, very much all over the place, and it was inconsistent, and it was very difficult to think that, oh, I'm doing well, and then get the wind knocked out of me.
Mhm.
And then for that cycle to perpetuate for a while, that's very exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this person was talking about had been really, really depressed and then noticed coming out of it,
Mhm.
like whew, but then went back down. Yeah, up and down.
Yep.
It's if the depressive state was going on for a while, breakup was really hard and everything, and you are having those releases back up to the top where you can breathe again, like you're underwater, and then you come up for air again. That's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry that like it feels whiplashy, but
Mhm.
it's a good sign if you continue to keep coming back up for air.
Yeah, because being dragged down by the undertow and never getting back up, that's where it gets to be too much.
Yeah.
But if you have any semblance of, I can make it through this.
Mhm.
Yeah, that instills a lot of hope. That's a very important thing to be like, you know what? I've come up for air, and then it'll be more and more frequent.
Yeah.
And it will change. If you can do it once, you can do it again.
Mhm.
And it's not easy, and it takes a while for sure. But just knowing that it's possible
Mhm.
should really, really help. Yeah, man. I feel like I'm glowing. I feel so good.
You look fantastic.
I feel great.
You look happy.
I feel happy. I don't feel like,
Do you feel free?
yeah. I feel like there's no binding of my emotions or soul or person to them. You
Mhm.
know, like, because very much they were in charge of, like, if I got a text at the wrong time or something came up to remind me of them, it would
Right.
change the entire atmosphere of my day.
Yeah, in the middle of work or
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's really, really nice to just be like, oh, that happened, cool, and like it's inconsequential.
Mhm.
This is a situation where I am now unflappable. That is, wow. I want to go boxing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, of you
Uh-huh.
or her? You, yeah. I'll hit you.
Cool.
Cool. It is pretty cool. Just a very odd thing, because when I left my abuser, the healing was and is for the most part a steady decline and incline with a hiccup every now and then, but it was very consistent. It's just something I'm not used to.
Mhm.
And every relationship you get in, it'll be a different, crummy kind of breakup, and it'll always be like that. I thought I was prepared for this, and I'm
I have
still,
an idea.
I love ideas. Okay.
So the emotional pain that you're going through here, why don't you two fight and
Mhm.
cause a lot of physical pain?
Yeah.
And then it will be unrecognizable because the physical pain will be because John is he's a very effective fighter.
Yeah, I hit lots of people
Yeah.
very well.
So he'll distract you right away and he'll give you a brain trauma.
I hit one
You
to
won't
two
remember.
brain traumas. It's whenever I get tattoos, you know what I usually do? Is I pinch myself elsewhere so I can concentrate on that all the time. When I was getting my elbow done, I had to pinch the shit out of my other arm,
Interesting.
so I couldn't so I'd be like, oh, this sucks, because it didn't, to me it wasn't, oh, this sucks as well. It was actually, oh, look what I'm doing. Oh, cool. This is one of our old customers, moved to California, and he wants to tell me about some good stuff. And he's watching. Before you go to bed, I wanted to say, great show, and I'm really happy that things are working out for you. Man, that's great. Michelle encourages boxing. Let's do it. All right.
Fight.
So
Fight.
yeah. Well, what's good about this too is what had really happened is when you meet somebody and you kind of feel like you're on top of the world, it reflects in your actions and activity. And when I was going through this thing with Christina, it was causing me so much strife that it was affecting my performance at work. And that's what I wanted to not happen the most. That was the least desired effect of any of this, was how it inevitably bled out into my personality, which when I was at work, I was doing, a good job, but I wasn't doing the job I wanted. I wasn't doing my best. I was not performing at my best. I was not giving what I wanted to give.
Well, because everything is harder to, I mean, it's almost like the energy. What were we talking about? Spoons?
Yeah.
Remember that when we were talking about spoons and how many spoons do you have?
Mm-hmm.
How much energy do you actually have to, register into this situation right now? And when you're depressed or when you're grieving, when there's been a loss, like that takes energy.
It does.
Just breathe through it.
Yeah, everything. Waking up is, that's 3 spoons, that's 3 spoons I have less for the day because this happened, because it's on my mind. I got a text from her. There's 5 more spoons gone and nothing even happened. I got a text, And so by the end of the day, it's just like I'm negative. I'm short right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great little analogy, that spoon thing. But
spoon theory.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Who gave us that? Who talked about that?
My friend Becca. Yep, it was a good little thing for her to share with us. Yeah. And I can tell you my favorite thing, and I mean, I'm hopefully, like, you guys look at this, someone said it's inspirational, is I love seeing people succeed. I love seeing people grow. And heck, I'm excited to see Christina succeed in what she's doing, with school. She told me a little bit about that. And that makes me happy. But it makes me happy that I can look at it and go, that's awesome for you, and not feel like I have any sort of like emotional investment or anything tied to her success, that will affect me in any way at this point. Like that's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's great to see that there's no more sphere of influence.
That kind of freedom is.
I've wanted to be at this spot for so long.
Yeah.
And
you didn't know for sure if you were, huh?
No, I mean, in recent months, I felt like I finally had made like that progress, but there was no way for me to know without something coming up and saying, well, let's make sure you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was interesting. Yeah, I'm standing there being sort of standoffish, and I mean, not rude, but like,
well, you're busy.
I think it was very much like the attitude of like, oh, I didn't expect you to be this sort of disinterested in my presence. And it was like, no, I probably came off like that because I was like, I got things I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, very tactful. Nice to see you.
Were you like, I have like 10 women up there, I'm banging all of them right now?
Yeah, I was like, there's the harem in my
the harem.
Yeah, in my bathroom. And
there's a harem in my bathroom.
We got stuff going on right now, so take it easy.
There's weird stuff in weird places.
Yeah. Hair's growing in weird places. I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Good for you, John.
Crazy. No, it's great.
What do you think you'll do tonight now? What do you feel inspired to do?
Play Zelda.
Cool.
Yeah, like just do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is literally, it's like seeing my neighbor walk down the street. Hey, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not going to affect my night anymore. It's right on.
It's not quite as relevant as.
No, I feel great knowing that like I'm not going to sit there dwelling on this thinking, oh God, like the reset button was hit, or I took 10 steps back or something. I got things to do, people to talk to, stuff to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
I got stuff to work on the store this weekend. I got to meet my dad tomorrow. I'm gonna,
fight.
I'm gonna fight. Yeah, like it's gonna be great. In my experience, the person is the easy part to get over. It's the damage that takes a long time to get over. Sure, because we assign a lot of value to the damage, and we say, well, I mean, this person lied to me a lot about myself, kind of thing. It was what they did does not signify our value. What they did makes us think that their value of us is the truth. And so to look at that,
it's a good way to put it.
Right, and it is very easy to get lost in that because we invest so much into these people that it can be hard for us to hear that and be like, oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Because we value their opinion. That's why we're with them. That's why we love them, is because we love what they contribute. And if they contribute negatively, we take it as much as if they contribute positively.
Mm-hmm.
We absorb all of it. So it is hard to get over, but it's remembering that you are not what they say you are. It's remembering that you are what you are in spite of them, and recovering by saying, but what they said isn't true. I don't have purple polka dots.
Yeah.
I am
I agree with that it's the damage to get over, because a lot of the time when a relationship starts to deteriorate, that person we initially knew or fell in love with or whatever doesn't exactly exist the same way anymore.
Right.
Like that person is actually a past experience. It's a past person.
It is.
Not the same person before you anymore. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Square one,
baby. That was an old show on TV.
Square one?
Yep. I think it was like on HBO or something.
What was it?
It was like just like an educational show.
Oh.
No. I used to watch it when I was a kid.
Like a Sesame Street-ish kind of thing?
Yeah, I think for like a slightly older audience, but yeah, same kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah, they didn't have like Muppets or anything, but they had like, crappy little sketch comedy like kind of things of people learning how to, teach you math or whatever.
What's your movie this week?
I'm not sure that we're actually going to be finished doing the movie tomorrow or ready for the movie tomorrow because of how much stuff there still is in the back room.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to show up tomorrow morning, get as much stuff done as I can. Ideally, we'll be done by Sunday night for our Sunday night gaming kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually don't know if I will have the back room ready tomorrow for the normal amount of people we have, because there's a good chunk of stuff back there. It's just slowly being organized into bins. But
how many people do you normally have?
We've been getting at least like 10 to 15 like recently. It's actually been growing pretty steadily. Sometimes, we'd have 4 or 5, but now it's almost 10 consistently. So it's actually been really, really great to see so many people coming down and sharing this with us.
Is it doable here ever?
At my house? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would still be limited. I don't know if I could fit 15 people unless a lot of them like standing. I did fit like, 6 on my couch decently well, a couple by the fireplace. I could pull up some chairs. So worst comes to worst. I mean, I have options if we really wanted to. But
cool.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
What are you thinking?
Just in general?
Yeah.
Well, been hanging out with somebody recently that has been.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, that's been someone I've been talking to, and it's been interesting. It's an interesting situation. Somebody I met several years back, and we started sort of hanging out out of nowhere, and the chemistry has been like a chemistry lab exploding.
Hey.
Yeah, it's been pretty intense.
Cool.
So yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking currently. And I got the new Nintendo system, and it's it's awesome. It's right here.
Oh.
Yeah. Feigned excitement, yeah. That looks like a big spider. I'm pretty bummed, but yeah, no. And so things have been good. Despite the break-ins, I've got wonderful people in my life. I've been hanging out with some great people. I've been experiencing. My family's doing well. There's some big changes coming into the store. Fairly soon. To talk about. You okay?
I gotta pee.
Oh. You want to take my chair back?
Okay.
Cool. All right. So there it is. We'll help move things for friendship. Yeah, I think the most of it is now sort of me figuring out where things go. And unfortunately, it's not really the problem of moving any of these things, but figuring out where they're going to go, and then I'll just move them. I might have to sort them into boxes. And there's a lot of things that it's sort of people waiting around for me to decide what I need to do with them. And there's not a lot left. It's really just sort of, getting a handful of things to sort of put in place to access later more easily. So not much to that, which is good. I think it's going to make things a lot easier. But I mean, if we don't get the movie going by tomorrow night, Sunday Night Gaming should still be on and good to go for people who want to show up and hang out there and still do those things. So that'll be good. Otherwise, that's it. Yeah, things are great. Things are great. So, how are you guys this evening? I mean, it's nice. We actually had like a very active chat and a lot of good dialogue going on, and lots of good conversation happening, and some new faces here this evening, which is also a lot of fun. I very much enjoy seeing that. It's good. This is one of my favorite times of the week, is getting a chance to see this. Michelle and I discuss this often. Is one of our favorite parts about every week is the opportunity to do this and just come and hang out and talk and do this whole thing live. And we're looking into the possibility of doing this several times a week if it fits into my schedule, which is generally kind of busy. But because it's so good for the both of us, if the opportunity comes up to do this more often, we will. So I'm just going through my fridge, grabbing some Propel if I had to guess. Let's see. See if I'm right. I'll find out. Maybe she's eavesdropping and she's going to ruin everything. No, that's probably exactly what happened. So, okay.
I grabbed a Propel.
I called it live on air. That I said you're going through my fridge and grabbing a Propel.
Yeah, you're right. How
Yep.
did you know?
I'm a psychic.
Oh.
Yep, I'm a Pokemon.
You know what I noticed in your fridge? You had a whole bag of carrots of your own, and you're here eating mine.
Oh.
Can you open it?
I can, and I will.
Thank you.
Yup.
Okay, what now?
Question: would you ever consider having guests on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually had a couple of people express interest before. Getting people over here is a possibility. I looked into doing it.
Technological ways?
Technologically, yeah. The only problem with that is because we have two people in a room, the sound coming through the speakers echoes into the microphone, and unless you're like wearing a headset, so like it becomes complicated to do it like remotely without like having a bunch of technical nonsense happen with like us in one room and the whole thing. But someone here would actually almost make it easier.
Yeah, let's do it.
So yeah, I know Alexa had expressed interest at one point, and I've talked to a couple other people who I think would be interested in popping on. Let's see. I went shopping today, but missed out on going out with friends, which sucked, but it's okay. LOL. Yes. Yes. And I kind of like, when life accidents happen, you miss an opportunity to do one thing and something else happens. Happenstance, situation. Kind of nice things just sort of occur, and then you just go from there and you roll with it, and great things happen. So are you now watching the podcast this evening because you missed out on going out with friends? Is that what what's happening? They're out clubbing and you're out chatting, sea-hatting.
Sea-hatting.
Yeah, that's how the kids do it these days. They say the first letter and then the rest of it is pronounced properly.
Sea-hat.
Yeah.
What's sea-hat?
Oh, cool. Yeah, see, I'm 14 again. That's cool.
Badass.
Yeah, be adass.
I would like to be able to sort of, in a way, time travel and watch us.
Like grow?
Be 11 years old.
Oh, man, that'd be interesting. I was talking to the girl that I'm seeing right now, and she was like, she says, I would never trust you with a time machine, by the way. She does not. She said explicitly, anybody who puts you in charge of a time machine is irresponsible. Which is fair, because there's a lot of things. It's true, really.
I think anybody that doesn't put you in charge of it is irresponsible.
They just want to watch all these alternate timelines just destroy themselves because I do weird things in them. Let's see. They're clubbing over here making personal growth. Who's a real winner? No, I was actually planning on watching all day. Oh, they're double dating. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, no, this is... What's up, John? The retro bro. Hello. Anybody who builds a time machine is irresponsible. See, the thing about a time machine is if you use it to go to the future, how irresponsible can you be? Because you're not affecting the past. But if you go into the past, if you just sit there and passively observe things, I don't think that's necessarily a bad way to go. But I mean, also, how easy would it be to get involved and, mess with something that could have adverse effects all over the place? Even the tiniest thing. You could take a piss on a bird, during an inauguration and literally change the entire universe.
I peed on your bed.
That changes nothing. Yeah, man. Retro bro. Yeah, this guy's cool. He's a dude I met in Arizona, actually, for a retro convention that I went to last year. Super cool guy. Let's see. Must we bring Biff from the Back to the Future? Yep. Let's see. Previous channel was going through the decades. Yep. Yeah, man. This is good. He's a good dude. So Biff Tannen, I mean, he's essentially the Donald Trump of Back to the Future.
Yeah.
He really is. I mean, he builds like a Trump tower in his dystopian future. It's very interesting. He makes Lorraine McFly get fake boobs.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, because she's married to him and she's all like drugged out and up in like the Trump Tower and
Really?
Yeah, and she starts freaking out because
I need to watch this again.
Yeah, it's crazy. Back to the Future 2 is an insane movie. I love it. I love it very much. Yeah, it's good. So yeah. So there you have it.
Cool.
There it is. And now what? It's the end.
It's the beginning.
Cool. Sweet guitar solo.
Did
the
you hear
credits
that
come up.
line?
Dude, yeah, you were like, you should be a scriptwriter. Because like, imagine if like John Wayne comes out and like he just blasts like some Mexican cowboy, some gaucho off a cliff, and that's what he says.
There you go.
There it is. Let's see. Although I really dig 3 as well. So here's the thing. Back to the Future 3 actually gets a lot of flack because I think it's not as well remembered as the other ones. It's honestly a great movie for the trilogy. I went back and watched it recently because I got like the Blu-ray trilogy. And as a kid, I think I don't remember it like as fondly because I like the first one, and then the second one ties directly into the first one. And then I watched the third one again. I was like, oh, this is way better than I remember.
You know what I want to watch is the Karate Kids.
Oh, 3 is not so good, but 1 and 2 are pretty great.
I never saw 2 or 3.
2 is a really good follow-up, I think. 3, I'll let you decide.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you might like it.
I saw 1, but I
love
hardly
1.
remember it.
1 is really good. 1 is really good. Very slight delay between the audio and video, and it's upsetting me. Yeah, this is. We're streaming straight from YouTube's streaming program.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is YouTube has like live streaming just built into their system now.
Oh, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, he says Karate Kid 3 is an abortion. It is. It's. I don't know.
I survived the abortion, Dad. You survived. You survived the abortion.
That's right, Sunny and Philly. That was a big common bond for both of us.
Oh
we
my
watched
God.
a lot of that in 2008 when we first met back
I've
up.
been watching a lot of that lately.
It's so good.
The new episode, the new season.
Oh, did you see? There's some really
Oh
funny
my
ones
God,
in
they're
there.
so funny.
There's some really funny ones.
I love that show.
Let's see. That's like Rocky 5. I still hate that movie, but the plot line was a necessary step. That's true. Rocky 5 is definitely a mess, but it was sort of necessary in where they went with it, and that's fair. Which is better, Karate Kid 3 or the new Karate Kid with Will Smith or Jaden Smith? I actually didn't mind the new Karate Kid, to be completely honest. Like, I still like the original better, but as a retelling, I think it ended up being a lot better than I expected. But I don't ever mind somebody's take on something familiar. It's kind of like watching my favorite artists draw things that they didn't create, like watching different artists draw like Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
10 different interpretations of something that I love.
Yeah.
And all of them are cool to me because it's, one person's take. My take on Turtles is different, So I like watching art from different people. It might not necessarily, be like my favorite, but I don't want to condemn it just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's bad.
I remember you talking about when the movies came out.
Oh, the Michael Bay ones.
And hearing a lot of flack about it.
Oh, certainly. I enjoyed the different, approach. This is somebody else's version. It's not mine. It's, and it doesn't have to be mine. But I thought, oh, I wouldn't have chosen that, but it's cool this person did because that's what he envisioned. So why not? Yeah. It's kind of fun to let things be what they're going to be because to somebody, it's important.
Did you ever see the one with Hilary Swank?
The Karate Kid?
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't think I did.
I don't think I did either.
I was curious about it. That was the next Karate Kid? Hilary Swank is the third one. Oh wait, that's the next Karate Kid. Yeah, that one's a trashy. But I never saw that one. I'd be curious though, just to check it out, just to examine it, just to see, like maybe something.
So she did karate and then she became a boxer.
Or she became the $1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What about $100 Baby?
And at some point she became a boy.
That's right. That was a sad movie.
Oh, I
Holy
love that
smokes!
movie. It's
Yeah,
so sad.
Absolutely, super good.
Super
good. Watch more movies are good for your soul. Let's see. I haven't seen any of these movies. So the first Rocky, the new Karate Kid. There's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good 80s stuff. And not just because it's nostalgic and good, but there's a lot of really incredible stuff from the 80s that I think are still kind of poignant today. Very interesting and very different flavor than a lot of current day movies.
Yeah.
Which is what I like. I think every movie has its own sort of era of here's what we're sort of going for. Like Stand By Me.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, watch that movie.
We should watch some Alf tonight.
I will always watch Alf. Forever. Forever and ever.
Let's watch them tonight.
Alf is the most pertinent thing in my life.
Yeah?
Yep.
More important than everything?
All
put together?
Everything combined.
Alf. If all else fails in healing from a breakup, make Alf the purpose of your life.
That's right.
It will work.
It will work. I guarantee. If you watch Alf, you will evolve.
Yes, you will.
You will grow.
Cake.
Yeah.
Cake. Cake. Cake.
Well, I'm
Okay.
excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Watch a couple episodes.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Cool.
I have no objection.
Let's do it now.
Okay. I think, well, I mean, we're sort of wrapping up at this point.
Mhm.
So, things take a natural progression. I think we're sort of good.
Yeah, we're talking about Jaden Smith and Hilary Swank Karate Kid movies. I think we're done tonight.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it was a very potent conversation, though. Most underrated movie you've ever seen, go Last Action Hero. Done.
That one was really good. You made me watch it. And it was
Second
really
favorite.
good.
It's so funny. It's so it's self-aware and it's clever, and it's all the action movie tropes that are like poking fun of themselves,
Yeah,
and it's great.
it's a really good one.
Yeah, absolutely. If I had to choose one, so
Cool.
However, I want to thank you guys for watching and tuning in and asking some questions. And I mean, again, this is a really potent
It was
conversation.
really saturated.
Yeah,
like-
extremely good. Extremely good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that.
And you guys watched Christina
Yeah, what a great situation
Alter.
to be unaffected by.
Yeah.
Yeah, super good.
Yeah.
Donnie Darko is my choice. Also a great movie.
I haven't seen that one.
It's good. They're making a sequel, I think, and I don't know if it's necessary, but I guess we'll see. I'll try it. Diary of a Teenage Girl.
You haven't seen that?
Wait, I think I've heard from several people actually that's worth watching. I don't know. Unless she's making fun of me, in which case I heard wrong. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Cool.
But no, I think that's actually something that I heard as well too. But yeah, thank all of you guys for tuning in and joining and contributing and adding to the conversation. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll be doing this again next week. And I'm excited to do this again and see where I'm at next week.
Mhm.
Sound good?
Yeah, heck yeah. We'll do it next week, and then we'll talk next week
We will.
about doing something different-ish.
Yeah, we'll try something. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we'll try something different.
All right. Well, really, thank you guys again, and I look forward to, seeing you guys grow and continue to grow and become even better versions of yourselves all the time. Okay?
It gets better.
Oh, it does.
Gets
It
better.
does.
Gets better.
Oh, it does. All right. Love you guys very, very, very much.
Good night.
Have a good night. Rest well.